welcome back to Dropped In. I am so incredibly grateful to be here with you. I love sharing these microdose hits of magic and medicine with you. It is so fun, and I just love being in this space. And what's really funny is that I resisted the heck out of this for so long, even though I have already co-hosted a podcast. There was something about having a solo podcast that was debilitating. It brought up so much for me. You see, I haven't always been this confident, courageous woman that I am today. I haven't always been dropped into my self-source power. For many years, I went outside of myself to find the answers. I went outside of myself to, quote unquote, make myself feel better. I went outside of myself to numb out all of the pain, all of the hurt, all of the trauma, all of the horrific experiences that I had. And so when it came to light of bringing my very own podcast to fruition, it brought up some of the unhealed, shadowy parts of myself. And so I could have allowed this resistance to take over. I could have allowed this resistance to win yet again. But instead, as I share with my clients, I leaned into the resistance and I asked myself, what are you here to teach me? It is through the resistance training that we develop our muscles. And so in the space of deep, deep resistance, you better believe I built some strong as fuck muscles. I'm so grateful for this period of the sacred pause, the spaciousness to deeply reflect and to heal the parts of myself that were so deeply embedded in my DNA that I wasn't even consciously aware of it. And this is the power of the work that I facilitate. This is the power of the work that I do within the subconscious mind. And it is so liberating to be here with you in sharing my magic and medicine in this space. And so as I was in this space of deep introspection and leaning into this resistance and asking it what it was here to teach me, and leaning into the shadowy parts that were roaring their ugly heads, what came through was this beautiful quote that I received way back in the day when I first started my entrepreneurial journey, which was at least 15 years ago. At least, probably 20, my goodness. And I received this quote. It was on a magnet from one of my mentors, and I haven't heard this quote since. I haven't heard it, I haven't seen it, but it just came through when I was in my space of the sacred pause, in the space of receiving, in the space of leaning into the resistance, in the space of building these muscles, in the space of deep, deep meditation. And what came through was this. And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. And let me tell you, as I share that, my whole body is flooded with shivers, soul's truth. It was so painful to be in that resistance because I had all of the awareness. It was this bird's eye view of seeing what was occurring in my life in this resistance. And it was so painful. And so I had to ask myself, why are you choosing to remain tight as a bud? It's time to blossom even more. It's time to fully step in and be seen. It's time to share even more of your magic and your medicine. And I can honestly say that it was so painful to be in the space of resistance, to be in the space of tightness and rigidity and like really closing in and like blocking my heart center and just kind of like shutting down my gifts. I don't like to call it self-sabotage. I call it self-protection, because in all reality, when things feel unsafe, when things feel uncertain, we'll do everything in our power to find certainty. As humans, we crave certainty. And so when things feel uncertain, when things feel unsafe, and the fear arises and the anxiety arises and the old stories come back to haunt, this is the opportunity to kind of take a step back and not be in the story, but be on the story, as my beautiful friend Marcia shares. And so I caught myself in this story of, what if I'm not accepted? What if I'm not loved? What if I'm not seen? What if I'm not heard? You know, what if I get canceled? What if I get judged? What if I get gossiped about? And those are all old stories, old programming of which I have been diving deep into healing. And so it was okay that it came back. And I took it as a little test. It was like, oh, okay, like here you are. You're trying to protect me yet again. But I don't need your protection, because I am so dropped in to the truth of who I am and why I am here and my magic and medicine that I'm hurting myself in the process. I am being detrimental to my physical health, to my emotional health, and to my energetic health. And so if this is resonating, first, know that you're not alone. You are never alone. And I invite you, if you are experiencing resistance in your life, whether it's professionally or personally or both, I invite you to lean into that resistance and ask what it is here to teach you. And know that the more you lean in, the more you trust that these big picture visions, these deep desires, these ideas, these downloads that are coming through for you are meant for you. And I bet if you were to be honest with yourself, that it is so painful for you to remain tight as a bud. It's going to feel so expansive when you choose to allow yourself to open up and to receive the blessings and the blessings that are abundantly available for you. And so I invite you to lean in. I invite you to trust the guidance, trust the downloads, trust the nudges, trust the whispers, the taps. Trust that it's all coming through for you for a reason. And know that it's fully safe for you to be in the space of being seen, of shining your light, of blossoming. And so I just invite you to reflect on this. Take some time to be with yourself. Take some time to process if you are experiencing resistance in your life right now. And just take your pen and paper and journal out whatever is coming through for you. And just doing your best to attach no meaning, disconnecting from any expectations that you might have. And allow yourself to be in this space with yourself, for yourself. I love you so much. So grateful to be here with you and to be on this journey with you. And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. Thank you so much for dropping in with me today. If you loved this episode, I would be forever grateful if you rated and reviewed. And if you feel called to share it with your community on social media, please tag me so I can thank you personally. Until next time, I will see you on Dropped